That's the question I get all the time. We had fun though, man. I mean, we enjoyed each other. Like that probably was a little downfall, and I never would say it. I kind of addressed it on the chop shop, but they didn't make me go into it. I just didn't touch it because somebody on wax asked the question, and it was like they was talking about, man, y'all should have won one of them championships, and they was like, y'all got out coached against San Antonio Spurs, and they asked me that question. I said I agree. We did get out coached. We shouldn't have lost to San Antonio that year in '99 when Sean Elliott hit that shot.
Oh, That's
the one he hit.
Yeah, the
corner
Memorial Day Massacre, man.
Toes. On his tippy toes, yeah.
The Memorial Day Massacre, man, and true story, man. After that game, man, now that I look back on it, I knew we was done because, man, we was on the plane crying like some babies, man. It broke us, man.
Yeah,
that broke us because they came back. Ironically enough, they came back from 20 points.
Yeah.
That broke us, man.
Yeah.
Dudes was crying like babies, man. We just knew we had that one.
I remember that game. They replayed that shot about 50 times.
Oh man, I tell you what, if Rasheed don't even try to block it, he missed the shot because he don't even get enough arc on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is that one?
But,
Shit. Get this right. My headphones.
Right there.
Make sure I hear everybody right quick that we throw. Good. I told Damon we did a little intro this morning, so we can pop right up into it.
Go right into it. Let me get my notes out. I was telling Lo earlier, I had my notes since April. He was in town one time, and we were trying to get you then. So I have my notes since April. Let me find them real quick. Lo, can you hear? We good?
Yeah, I hear everybody. We good. Anything you don't want me to hit, Damon? Stay away from him?
nah, we good.
You be testing yourself anyway. Let me see how I can dance around this shit.
I do. I be that. I mean, be trying to hit. Be trying to hit it.
You got media training.
Man, I was taught well.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's get this thing. Yes, sir. We in this thing, and it is really literally hot in here. But
Your AC ain't working?
yo, I told y'all what we got today. We want to welcome a good friend of mine, a guy that, look, it's so many things I can just continue to go on and on about, but I'm going to just put it out there and say, we got Damon Stoudamire in the building.
This might be a 3-hour joint.
No.
Here all day.
You might even be here for 3 hours.
And hey, now I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it because
I'm sure you got a lot of stories.
got stories.
Yeah.
What
What it's about.
7th pick of the 95 NBA draft.
95 drive.
Yeah.
But before that, we're gonna bounce around a little bit.
We have to.
It was at Arizona, man, with arguably one of the greatest coaches to ever put groups of players together and manage them all.
Yeah.
How about that one? That's one of the biggest things. To put a group of guys together that have so much talent, and he was the first Calipari before Calipari. Get on it. I'm gonna sit back and say that. I'm gonna say that. What, David? Say what's up. What you think on that?
The crazy thing about it is it just wasn't one and dones back then.
Exactly.
But it's crazy because I was just telling you, like when you look at Coach Olson's history, especially at Arizona, everybody, Sean Elliott, that was the one. Sean was like the dude that put him on the map. They went to the Final Four, Sean and Steve Kerr. But Sean went to Arizona, was All-American, 3rd pick in the draft. Everybody forget that his backup was Jud Buechler. So Jud Buechler didn't play for 3 years at Arizona. Played for 1 year, was all conference and went pro, and was a pro. You know what I mean? Like to me, that's like That's who he was. I said this the other day. He produced more pros. Okay, listen to this. Look, you gotta think about this. Listen, he produced more pros than he had McDonald's All-Americans. So what I'm telling you is, so what I'm telling you is take the McDonald's All-Americans out the equation, and he produced more pros than McDonald's Americans that he brought to the school.
Hey, you know what? I was talking to somebody today. Matter of fact, shout out to Hicks that you was on there and Hatter because you was on the Chop Shop. I was talking to them today. You know, I told him, I said, to me, the true measure of a coach and even assistant coach is this. Tell me what guys you've made to the next level or overseas that nobody was talking about. Not the ones that everybody know about. We know about LeBron. You know what I'm saying? We know about, everybody can pick that one. Give me the ones that you may be into something that nobody, that shows the true measure of where you are as a player, I mean as a coach in a program.
Yep. The thing about it is, it's like, and I'll just use my life since I got to Houston. So I probably moved here about 2002 or whatnot. And so my whole point to people when I would talk to them was like, you know, when they, you know, you got guys they claim kids. You know, we all in the claiming kids now. You know, we do that. But I'm like, you can't claim somebody that was already gonna be a pro. Like, you know, some dudes have the work ethic. Some dudes got the drive and determination with the talent. You know what I mean? And you can't take that away from them. Like the dudes that trained me, like, love them to this day. But the first thing they would do if they was on this show right now, they'd be like, dude was going to pro anyway. We was fortunate enough to be along for the ride.
Right.
We helped him along the way, but man, he was going anyway.
Yeah.
You know, my whole point is even in my time in coaching, like, you know, when I was in the pros, probably for me, and I still watch them play to this day, and I still want to be more aggressive. Mike Conley is the dude that, you know, for me, like, people don't really know what he went through. They don't really know what he went through behind the scenes, and probably like low knowing the people that I know, they know because I used to come back and tell them. But like, man, they was trying to move him. Like, man, it was split in the organization. People forget Kyle Lowry was there. It was split. It was 50-50. It was 50-50. You know, it was 50-50 on what was going to happen. Matter of fact, I remember the meeting when the Rockets was trading Ray for Austin. Y'all remember that? Rockets was trading Ray for Austin. Trading Ray for Austin. Ray for Austin was going to Orlando. Okay? The Rockets was going to get Conley or Lowry. They really wanted Lowry more than they wanted Conley because they thought Lowry was more of a dog. The organization was conflicted on what they wanted to do because they didn't know which one they wanted. And the room was split. You know what I'm saying? But I look at him, I look at a guy like him, and I seen the way he got beat down. You know, there's a lot of people, man, throwing salt in them wounds on him. You know, but I seen a dude, you know, that, you know, he never got too high and he never got too low. And to be honest with you, I didn't see that again. Until I got to Arizona, and I always laugh. I laugh about this one because, like, when I first watched him play, T.J. McConnell, I was like, man, dude's solid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, forget what you say. Like, he played hard. He didn't have no athletic ability. He didn't have the same ability that the guys on our team had. But when I seen him play, I was like, you can tell like he was the glue to the team. Like he knew what it was. He was the dude that was gonna get in everybody's face. Right. And we used to be in our coaches' meetings, and you know, Sean would ask me straight up because you know, he'd be like, man, you the only one that been in the league in this room. Right. He was like, man, can TJ make it? I said, man, he gonna be at least a third guard for somebody.
At least, yeah.
And he was like, you think so? I said, see, what people don't understand about being that third guard in the NBA, see. If you got that starter and that backup, right? Depending on who that starter is, you know, he might go kick it all night. You know, he gonna come to practice. He really don't want to practice. That backup, you know, he just kind of contend that role in that third guard. Man, he gonna be the dude to pick you up full court, dogging you when you don't want to. That's T.J. McConnell. He used to do that every day for us at Arizona. He set the tone every single day. Dude won 98% of the things that he did in the 2 years that I was there with him.
That's big.
5-on-5, 4-on-4, 3-on-3,
Whatever it was.
2-on-2, 1-on-1. The sprints don't matter. His team won everything. Didn't matter if he had the walk-ons on his team or the best players on his team. His team won everything.
So he make you bring it.
Yeah.
When you step on the court, you like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
I got to strap up because I know what I'm about to face.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you better stay in the training room.
No question. He along with Conley are like the two dudes I'm proud of the most that I've been around as a coach. You know, it's just really just seeing from where they came from. You know, where they came from and, you know, what it was. And like with Mike, especially with Mike and even with Kyle, I got a great relationship with both of them guys. But when they came in, you know, it was like we had just got a new coach with the Grizzlies, and he came in and like it's so crazy because I went through the same scenario. I had went through the same scenario like 4 years early. No, about 3 years earlier, and Marlon was around there when Portland drafted Sebastian Telfair. It was crazy. Had me and Nick Van Exel, they drafted Sebastian, but what they tried to do, you know, these organizations, they try to play you against each other sometimes. But me and Nick was trying to school Sebastian, but man, he just wasn't hearing it. You know, he wasn't hearing it. You know, and I get it, man. I get it. You know, he had a lot of hype behind him too.
Yeah.
You know, and he didn't get it. And I said, man, young fella, you gonna get it one day. You know, about 3 years later, when that thing started going the other way for him, he was like, man, I know what you were saying.
Yeah.
But with Mike and Kyle, like I told them, look, I you know, in separate conversations, like, look, man, like, yeah, they messing with me now. They start me, but I'm not the future. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be here. Like they trying to figure it out between y'all. But what y'all can't do is don't let them pit y'all between each other. Cause both of y'all gonna be successful. Unfortunately, at the end of the day,
One be here.
one gonna be here and one gonna be there.
Yeah.
But man, now you say that, and to me, what I get out of that, and some people didn't get as a true veteran and an NBA star, you saying you letting these guys know, look, man, I'm on my way out.
Yeah.
It's gonna be about y'all. It's gonna be about y'all, man. Yeah. So don't think that you ain't gotta fight me. I'm trying to tell you how to stay.
I'm good. And that's all I was trying to tell them, and they got it. And the thing about it is that, you know, how you sustain, how you have staying power, and how you relevant past your playing days is when you get it. Like a lot of dudes, man, the reason they struggle when they done with basketball, everybody think, you know what's amazing to me? What's amazing to me is that when somebody retires from the NFL, the NBA, or whatever, right? Especially if it's a brother, right? Why when don't nobody see him, they say he broke? Man, you not seeing him because he don't play no more. He not on TV. He not doing the same things. He not in the limelight, right?
Right.
Now, if he commentating, you know, if he coaching or whatever, you still see him. But you don't see him because that's not the realm of life that they in anymore.
Right.
You know,
facts,
and so the thing about it is that when you get situations like when you on the way out, like you have to start figuring it out. And what I did was 3 years. Like honestly, when I was about 30, when my time was done in Portland, you know, because I kind of seen that as the end. I was 32 years old. I said, man, I just want to get one more deal. I get one more deal. I had dreamed of playing until I was 40, but I said I get one more deal, and I play that deal through. Then I'll see what's up. And then unfortunately for me, what happened was I tore my knee up right there in the new deal. So I had just got a 4-year deal when I was 32. And so I knew doing it, and Marlon was there every day, and it was like, man, honestly, like real talk, like I was working out, but I didn't have that burst no more. I didn't have it, man. And like I always told myself, like when I didn't have it like that, I gotta let it go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't adjust my game. I wasn't trying to adjust my game. I was good. You know, I was content. I had in my head I was content. So you know, I ended up playing another 3 years anyway, until I was 35. But the reality of it is, my coffin, rest in peace, 95 to 2006. That's what it really should have said. But it said 2008, 9.
Right.
You know, and you know, but what I did was I started to think about life after basketball early. But for me, I never let this old hoop define me neither.
So who was your mentor? Who was schooling you? Because you said you were talking to, you know, Mike Conley and Kyle Lowry and Sebastian. Who was the guy that was kind of putting in your mind to start thinking about those things?
When you first came to the league?
Yeah,
when you was like, when short?
No, when you first came to the league.
When I first came to the league, it was Isaiah Thomas. So first thing he told me is that, man, there's a lot of money in this.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't just talking about playing. He was talking about just in general.
Mm.
Like, you know, and he talked to me about relationships. Like, I bumped my head, no doubt.
No doubt.
I bumped my head, you know, and a lot of it was played out on a bigger stage. You know, but the thing about it, my wounds were self-inflicted. I never had conflict with management.
Mm-hmm.
I never had conflict with coaches. And my teammates always loved me. I was always a leader on every team I played with. So I was always a people person.
Mm-hmm.
So people always messed with me. You know, they rocked with me. And you know, nobody taught me that. That's just kind of something that I seen. But Isaiah was there, you know, on the initial, okay? Mm-hmm. And then as I started to get to know people, and then when I came down here to Houston, you know, just kind of getting that Luke, and, you know, just kind of chopping it up.
Yeah.
And, you know, just seeing things bigger than life. You know what I'm saying? And he used to always hit me with, man, we just setting you up for the comeback. You know, that's what he always used to hit me with, man. We just setting you up for the comeback. You know, a lot of people don't understand, like, you know, what you have down here. You know, when I got into a couple of my little issues, you know, it wasn't that I was out there bad. I just had a couple of things that played out in front of the nation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what coming down here to Houston did, it gave me an umbrella with Luke. You know, it gave me an umbrella of protection. And so then you can come down here and you can rehabilitate your image. Mm-hmm. That's really what I did. You know, the whole time I rehabilitated my image. And then what it did by coming full circle, you know, is when I finally got to college, then all that stuff comes into play. You know, because now you turn into a mentor. Now those lessons that you learned and the way you bumped your head when you talking to kids, you like, man, you should Google me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I used to tell them, man, just Google me. Google Damon Stoudamire weed. You know, and I tell them, like, Google it. Like, man, I'm not sitting up here telling you nothing because I'm like, man, I did it and I ain't happy. Yeah, and I ain't guessing. Right. And I'm not happy about some of these things that played out, but it's who made me today, so I ain't ashamed of it neither.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
No
so
doubt.
You know, a lot of between Isaiah, you know, between Luke, between, you know, just getting jewels from just a lot of dudes just along the way and just kind of bumping my head and figuring some things out, man. You just get older, you get wiser. I do believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You still keep a good relationship with Isaiah? When we talk Isaiah, we talking Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah. Not the current Boston Celtic turned Cavalier.
Right.
Probably
Pistons.
arguably the best point guard to ever play the game.
Right.
That people try to hate on.
No doubt.
We can go past that though. We can, and as you know, it look different.
Yeah, no doubt.
But go ahead, Mom.
No, I'm gonna just say, cause you know me, I always want to go back.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say when you was coming up.
I gotta always go back to the beginning, man, and growing up in Portland. What was that like for you, and how you get into playing ball?
Man, it was in my blood. You know, ball was in my blood. It's funny. Portland, Oregon is a small place, but you know, my father, he was a baller. Mm-hmm. You know, he played at Portland State. He was drafted. Never played in the league, but he was drafted by Seattle. My uncle, he was He was a baller. He played football too.
Okay.
And he was drafted by Detroit Lions. He just he didn't make the roster or nothing. Him or my dad, they didn't make it, but they got drafted. You know, remember back then, I'd be teasing them. I'm like, man, it don't count, man. It's like 25 rounds back then. You know what I'm saying? But the reality of it is, if you go back and look at the books, they names is there, so I get it. I get it.
No doubt.
You know, and then I had my cousin Antoine.
Okay.
You know, people forget about him. He went to Georgetown. He started at Georgetown, and then he transferred to Oregon. And, you know, in a conference where we had Don McClain, Harold Miner,
UCLA, USC.
you know, Chris Mills, you know, all these guys, all these first round picks.
Man,
he led the league in scoring at Oregon. Now they wasn't Oregon of the day; they was garbage, but he led the league in scoring. You know, and then his brother, obviously, everybody know him, Salim. You know, Salim went to Arizona. He played in the league. You know, my cousins, a couple of my female cousins, they played ball. And I just came from an athletic family, man. I had a real athletic family, yeah. And so just growing up around that rock, man. And then across the street, my mother, she worked a lot when I was younger, right? So I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. And my grandmother, she lived right across the street from where I went to elementary school, and they had a basketball court right there. So, man, I'm just like any old kid, man. I stole her little baking clock. You know, I went and turned the little clock on. You know, it's ticking. I'm playing my little games. I'm Isaiah on the court. I'm George Gerb, and I'm all these people, man. I'm shooting last-second shots, fading out of bounds, man, waiting for people to come to the park. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's pretty much how I got my start.
Pretty much every day you was just out there hooping.
Man, that's what it was. And then my uncle Donald, he one day he said, man, I gotta take you somewhere. So I was in the 3rd grade, man. He took me up to this community center, Matt Dishman Community Center, and on that day, man, that day changed my life in basketball.
Oh, in 3rd grade, speak on it.
In third grade, man. In 3rd grade, man, I went to the place, man, that basically it shaped and molded me, man. That's where I got into my first fight. That's where I lost my first fight. You know, that's where eventually I got my first kiss. You know, that's where I went to that's where I went to my first dance. You know, but more importantly, from a basketball standpoint, man, that's where I grew up. That's where I met all my youth coaches, and that's where, you know, I just learned a lot of life lessons there. Met Terrell Brandon. You know, that's where me and Terrell were in the same program. He was just older than me. Terrell always played up in our programs, like, you know, it's funny, you know, I touch on this just quickly, you know, briefly. It's always funny, man. I'll be hearing dudes and I'll be looking at the Twitters and they be like, dudes is 17 playing 16. You know, this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? I be laughing. You know, it's all comedy, man. But no, seriously, I was in the 3rd grade playing on the 5th grade team, and Terrell was on the 4th grade playing in the 6th grade team. We was the best player. We was really the best players then. Okay, but and then what happened was that they said we got to get y'all your own teams and let y'all grow like that. So Terrell was already 3 years older than me, you know. So they gave him his own team, and then I went from the first 2 years when I was in the 3rd grade, I played in the 5th grade. Then when I was in the 4th grade, I played on the 6th grade. But then they took me down during the season and put me on the 5th grade because they was getting smashed. So they put me on the 5th grade. Then they just said, man, just stay with them. But you know, I had a attitude and a presence, man, where it was like those dudes, they was good. They just didn't have confidence. You know what I'm saying? So this same team that couldn't even win city, when I went down there, you give them that confidence, man, we became one of the best teams in the country. Like, we were going like, and then people don't know. I always tell people this, you know, the crazy thing about it, I still got the books because moms used to keep all that stuff. People don't understand. Back when AAU was real, you had to win state, then you had to win regional to get the national. And when you got the national, it was only the top 8 teams from each region. It was like the Little League World Series. And then when the money got big, all you had to do was win state.
That's it.
So they instead of 8 teams, it wasn't enough money. But then when you got 50 states, you bring it all together, now you get some real money. But back then it was different. Like that was the first time they had AAU in the same place. So 11 and under, 13 and under, and 15 and under was all in the same place. That was the first time I ever seen Mark Macon play.
Temple.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He played for this team from Saginaw. He played on this team from Saginaw,
Michigan.
Straight bucket getter.
Yeah.
So when I seen him at Temple, it didn't even faze me. I was like, dude was getting buckets in the AAU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You getting buckets in the AAU.
Now you speak on the confidence you had in at that time, 4th or 5th grade. Like, where did that come from? Was it being around your family and them being able to kind of instill those things in you, or what was it about yourself and your own presence that you felt like, oh, we about to smash these dudes?
You know what? I don't even know. I just always had a lot of confidence. It's just, I don't know. It was just in me.
Yeah.
Like, it was in me. I was a leader from day one. Like, you know, I was always the leader of my clique. I was always the leader in whatever I did. You know, and with this particular group of dudes, they just didn't have a lot of confidence, man. And you know, once I came to the team, you could just see their chest poking out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just seen that. And then you know it was like, you know, I was one of them dudes, man. Like, you know, it's a kid, right? It's a kid, right? So we got the same team, right? And I'm like, man, I'm in like 6th grade. And I'm like, yo, we gotta get a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we went out of town. You know, we had went out of town, and you know, dudes was bigger than us.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I was doing my job, but I gotta get dudes better. But we gotta get a couple new dudes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got the team together, and I was like, yo, when y'all go to school, because we was going in the 7th grade. When we was going in the 7th grade, yo, the tallest dudes in y'all school,
Go find them.
man, we need to find them.
Yeah.
Bring them dudes to practice,
Uh-huh.
right? So
You recruiting?
I went. My middle school was Harriet Tubman. You know, a couple of dudes went to what they call Whitaker. Then a couple of dudes went to this spot called Fernwood, right? So my man Ronald from Whitaker, he's like, I got us one. So he brought him to practice, changed our team.
Yeah.
Changed our team. Had us a shot blocker.
Uh-huh.
You know, and he was young. He was a real 13. He was a real 13.
No great
So
exceptions.
you know, it was you know, I you know, that's who I was, man. I just, you know, I was always a leader. I was always like that, and I always tried to make dudes better and get them to believe in themselves more than they did, you know, before they got with me. That's just who I was, man. I just, you know, I always felt like that. Like I don't know, I grasped some things that a kid probably wasn't supposed to. You know, a lot of people call me an old soul, but you know, it is what it is, man. I was always around older dudes. That's how I learned the game. I learned the game from older dudes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the kids today, unfortunately for them, the reason some things they can't do and older dudes get mad and can't comprehend it because these kids today ain't never been to the park to hoop. Like, man, I got a story for Houston, man. I remember when the Portland Trailblazers drafted Clyde Drexler. Man, it was like a mini party, man. And so we got this park in Portland called Irvington Park. True story, Irvington Park. Man, Clyde Drexler walked in the park, man, and it was in the middle of the summer, you know, in the park, you know, you used to have people standing on the hill. You had about 7-8 games going on, man. Clyde walked up in that joint, man, and numbed the park, man. Man, and, you know, you had the DJ up on the top of the hill. He playing the music, man. Clyde ain't got hype, man. Clyde playing, man, in the park.
Yeah.
Great park. You know, and I was like, Clyde. I was a little boy. I think I was 11 when we drafted Clyde.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but love Clyde, man.
Yeah.
Love Clyde. But it was, you know, it was the park, though, man. That's my point. It was the park. You know, Clyde was Clyde. But he came to the park like he wasn't Clyde. Playing against dudes are just, you know, regular dudes. You know, back then at the park, it was, you know, you had the dudes, you know, dudes was rolling dice at the top of the hill. The other dudes was smoking 40s. You know, there's a little bit of something going on everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, pit bull fighting over there on the other side. Knowing they not. I mean, it was a whole lot of just different things going on, man. But
the park is like a city in its own.
Right.
Uh-huh.
It was like your sanctuary, and you know that. I mean, for me, it gave me a lot of game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I seen what to do and what not to do at an early age, and then I had to, you know, the streets, you know, to a certain extent, you know, the streets started to raise me a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in terms of, you know, you always seen after hours guys go like, you know, they veering, you know, everybody going their own separate way, and then that's when you realize like,
who doing what?
Right.
Yeah.
It's always like you hear the whispers, and think, nah, he ain't doing that.
He ain't over there with them.
Yeah. You know, so, but yeah, that's, you know, and that's where I got everything from, man. I would never hide the fact of where I'm from, man. Portland, you know, Portland to me is a city that we don't get a lot, but the ones we got to me were impactful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, guys that really, you know, found a niche, and you know, they did their thing. You know.
Well, you got your grandma on your arm, tatted. Is that your mom's mom or your dad's mom?
No, it's my dad's mom. My mom is from Vegas.
Okay.
And my mom went to U of O. She was in college when she had me. So she left U of O. She transferred to Portland State so she can get some help. So my grandmother used to babysit me, you know, while she was going to school and everything. So,
Yeah.
you know, it was a good situation, a good working situation that allowed her to stay in Portland. You know what I mean? So, but no, my grandmother, I was with her a lot.
Y'all was thick as thieves.
Yeah, you know, it was, man. I
swear.
Yeah, it's almost like everybody might have the same story. It's like it was about 5 houses on the block, and it was all old people. And like when I finally got of age, I got to 8 years old. What's amazing is now is back then you could go to the store by yourself at like 8 years old. You
and buy cigarettes.
I'm about to get into it. So I used to have to go to the store, man, and with the note. So grandma had a note. I had to get that snuff. Then I got the tobacco. Then she'd be like, go to her house right there. I had to get her list of what she wanted. I had to go to the next house and get the list of what she wanted.
You the errand
You know
boy.
what I mean? And then all I got
You might get a quarter or something.
Man, at that time I was getting $1. But if you remember back then, and it's just telling your age, man. $1 got your Snickers.
Everything.
It got your bag of chips. It got your pop, and you can still play video games.
Hey, that's when Snickers was 26 cents with tax. It was a quarter, and it was a penny for tax.
Lemonhead was 10 cents.
Jolly Ranchers, all that. Mike and Ike's, Boston Baked Beans, 10 cents, little box.
Alexander the Great, Terry Chan, that was the joint.
Yeah.
Now, then when you got to high school, you won 2 state championships?
Yeah, I won two. Yeah.
Well, when you first got there, were you that guy when you first walked on campus?
Nah, man, my high school was good. Yeah, like, you know, it's crazy because you have all these border rules. They had them back then too. So, my neighborhood school was Jefferson High School, which is really Jefferson is really dominant right now. And the irony of Jefferson High School in Portland right now is my high school teammate is the head coach of Jeff. You know, but you know, my neighborhood school was Jeff. I wanted to go to Grant because that's where Terrell went.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to go to Grant because that's where Terrell went, and you know, I was a fan of TB, and you know, they was gonna let me play ball my freshman year, and you know, his Coach John Stillwood, that was his name. He was known for playing freshmen. Like, you know what I mean? He was gonna play a freshman. Yeah, he was with it. And so he probably was gonna put me out there and, you know, let me feel my way. But what I had did was I had filled out some forms to go to Wilson. Wilson wasn't my neighborhood school, so you had to give like a reason of why you wanted to go. Why you wanted to go. You know, but man, I graduated in 91, 2017, so I've been out of high school damn near 30 years, so Man, you know, you hold a little secret. Hey, man, look, they told me what to put on the paper. Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, they told me what to put on the paper. You know, I didn't know what to put on the paper.
That's your limitations.
They told me what to put on the paper.
Yeah.
You know, and so
They ain't gonna take the banners down.
Right. So you know, I got accepted to Wilson, and you know, like I said, my boy Pat Strickland, he grew up in Matt Dishman. Like we all grew up together, like you know what I'm saying. So he was Matt Dishman dude, and so man, he wore me out, man. He was like, man, you come to Wilson, we gonna win titles, this, that, the third, and man, I was like, yep, I'm going.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to Wilson, man, and that's how I got there. And it was, you know, real talk, man. It was a culture shock when I got there, man, because I hadn't really been around white people like that before. And you know, it's crazy because, you know, I sit back and I was like, dang, it was a culture shock. But then I fast forwarded in my life and I was like, man, honestly, it really helped me. It really fast forwarded a lot of things for me because what I had to do, and you know how I had to kind of embrace that environment, you know, to get through it. You know what I mean? Like that's how I was always one of them type of dudes, man. I seen a lot of people come through Wilson. You know, a lot of colors, you know, would come through Wilson, and you know, it was hard for them. And what they would tell me is that, you know, it was because you was a basketball player, that's why they messed with you. I was like, man, that's a gift and a curse, man. Like that's really not, you know, to me that's like a gift and a curse, you know, because I fast forward, you know, when I went to Wilson, like, you know, I got into a major situation. We had like a little racial tension at our school my senior year. And what happened was, man, is I had got into a fight. And in the cafeteria, some things were said, some N-bombs was thrown and all that old stuff. And you know, man, me and about 3 of my partners, man, we got into it with some other boys, man. And then what happened was, it was a bucket. It was a steel bucket there, and I hit a dude upside the head with a bucket, and his head split open, and he had to, you know, he started bleeding everywhere. It looked worse than what it was, but still, there was blood everywhere, and you know, I end up getting suspended from school, and you know, for about 2 weeks, and you know, it was really strange, man. You know, to be honest with you, because you know, as kids, you know, you just, you know, back then you used to fight and then you shake hands, you know, but then this time I got into a fight, I hit the dude in the head, and, you know, it was crazy because it was kind of like all surreal to me, and I got charged with second and third degree assault, and then lost the case, and, you know, I had to do these are the things that people, I had to do 250 hours of community service before I went to Arizona.
250.
I had to do 200. I had to do.
That's a lot of hours. Man.
What'd you do? I went to school. Because I only went half a days my senior year. So I had to do this all before, like I said, before I went to college. So I did a half day of school, and then I would go work in what they called the Portland Parks and Recreation. And so
picking up trash,
you know, and it was 2 people. So it was this dude named Roy Pittman, right? He was a family friend, so I used to be like, man, I hope Roy there today. Because he going to be like, man, go to the gym and just watch the gym. So I can go work out, right? Yeah. But then there was this lady, man.
She was on your head, she was on your ass.
Scrooge.
Yeah. I'm going to keep it 100 with you, man. I was cleaning the swimming pool with toothbrushes, man. Like, you know, she had me in storage. She had me separating stuff, getting stuff ready for the summer and everything. Man, look, y'all can relate to this. Man, I was down, man, they had me down there separating the arts and crafts. I'm messing with the gimp and everything, man. I'm like, yeah. So yeah, I was on, you know, I had to do the community service, and then when I was at Arizona too, the first 2 years I was actually on probation, but nobody knew that though. Yeah, the coaches knew, but nobody else knew that though. And I just couldn't get in trouble. But that was an isolated incident what happened to me in high school, man. But like I said, it wasn't like I was ever an open person, but it did kind of make me guarded as I moved forward with a whole lot of things though.
So going into recruiting,
right.
Who else was on you pretty heavy besides Wildcats.
The whole West Coast was really on me. It ended up where I took visits. to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I took a visit to Louisville, UCLA, USC, and I was always going down to Oregon and Oregon State because it was it was
right
the
there.
home schools.
Yeah.
You know.
Was that tough not to pick those two schools because it was the crib?
At that time, it wasn't tough at all because I had always envisioned myself of leaving home. Like,
Okay.
I never was staying home.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't. I just wanted to get away.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And, for me, in all actuality, my two favorite visits was probably Louisville. Louisville, Coach Crum, man, he was amazing. Like he was amazing. Like, the atmosphere down there was
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Like, and then to be honest with you, it was like kind of being, and at that time I had never been around, I had never been to like a black college or nothing like that, man. But when I went to Louisville, like, man, they had them sisters down there, and it was like, wow.
I see myself being the
I was
Cardinal.
like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is serious.
Yeah.
But, then USC. USC was a great visit, man. I had a lot of fun. George Rattler was a good man. I had some friends that actually went to SC. So it was cool. UCLA, I wasn't really into it.
Okay.
It was a little different for me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? For me, I wasn't feeling it like that.
More Hollywood.
Yeah, and then Arizona, believe it or not, when I went on my visit, I was actually sick. I was really sick. But they didn't have it went without saying. So Arizona was Arizona, and then the only reason UNLV wasn't in the mix is because they went on probation, or they would have been in the mix. Probably would have been where I went. To be honest with you, at that time, that's what I wanted to do.
So that would have been your first choice, UNLV.
Probably
Exclusive. This is breaking news, right? But you end up at Arizona. What made you finally decided just to choose to go to play for Coach Olsen?
Because he was he was the only dude that honestly didn't promise me nothing. And it kind of threw me off. From the
so
standpoint.
you hearing people saying you get keys to the van, we gonna do everything for your team.
So what he told me was, and I was like, man, and when I think back to what he told me, I was like, man, if you went in somebody's house today and told them that, man, they would be tripping. But he was like, Damon, we went to the Sweet 16 without you. I got my starting backcourt back. I got a McDonald's All-American guard coming in. He said, I think you're a good player. I think you can get some minutes, but you're gonna have to work hard, man, to get these minutes.
You like what?
And I was like, man, dude ain't seen me play. He tripping, man. Like, I know you tripping, man. I know you tripping. You didn't just tell me that. Then he was like, you remind me of Muggsy Bogues. I coached Muggsy Bogues in the world. And I was like, dog, I said, dog, I do not play like Muggsy Bogues.
You told him that?
Yeah. I said, man, I don't play like Muggsy Bogues. Real talk. If you go back in my little bio, okay, it will say my freshman year. It will say, Coach Olsen said that Stoudamire reminded him of Muggsy Bogues. And I was like, Coach, man, I don't play like Muggsy Bogues.
Take that shit off, man. Can't be hiding that, really.
I was like, look, I ain't trying to hate on Muggs, but I don't play like Muggs, man.
Yeah.
I don't play like Muggsy, man.
Yeah.
So when he left, so he told you that, threw you off.
Right.
When he left, was you kind of pondering like, I gotta go prove this dude? Like, I gotta go prove to him that I'm obviously nowhere near what he's thinking? Or do you think he's playing a mind game, because he obviously knew?
I didn't think he was playing a mind game because in reality, as it moved forward, he had never seen a guard like me. Like, the irony of me going to Arizona is Coach told me that, and by the time I left, I changed that man's program. It went from big man to point guard you.
Point guard you.
So let's this gonna take a full circle. we're gonna talk about when we talk about the recruiting. So I'm gonna ask you this, Damon. Were you McDonald's All-American?
Nope. Matter of fact, I was
I think
I was the 64th ranked player in the country when I came out of high school.
You remember that, huh?
I remember it. Matter of fact, it was so crazy
Yeah.
because back then Bob Givens was the guy. He was
Yeah.
he was the guru, right? And so he used to come out no different than these guys today. He come out with a beginning of the summer, and then he would come out with a midsummer before he came out with the final rankings. And so I had been balling. I went to Nike camp, and then like I tell people too, it was a real camp. Nike camp back then, it was the best 120 players regardless of class. Regardless of class, so it was just the creme of the creme. And so I had ball, man. I was playing my butt off, and man, I had moved up in the top 30. I had an even better summer.
Yeah.
But I moved back.